Hello, today we're going to show you how to take Teexpert deep pour epoxy, make a beautiful serving tray like this one you can use to display your custom beer glasses, shot glasses, flowers, whatever you want to display on them. A beautiful, easy DIY project. These glasses I had made by House of Glass LV on Instagram. Let me move these out of the way before I go breaking them. Now, this is made out of walnut wood, a jade green mica powder, and Teexpert deep pour epoxy. What you're going to need is to make a mold, which is very easy to do. All right, first you need your lumber sized, surfaced, ready to go. You need a base for your mold. You can make it out of plywood. This is 1/2 inch MDF. If you're going to do much bigger than what I'm doing here, I would recommend a 3/4. This is 12 by 24. What you want to do is use a clear packing tape. All of these guys you see online saying you have to use tuck tape. You don't have to use tuck tape. You can use a clear packing tape. You want to cover your mold in packing tape. Now on the sides, I've already covered the sides. If I could switch here and show you. I've already covered the sides in this tape. You see it reflect there. And I've covered part of this. I still got to do this section here. So let's continue on. Basically, you just want to put strips of your tape down. You want to overlap them by about 1/4 of an inch. Stretch it tight and make it flat. You'll never get it completely flat. Don't go crazy trying to try it. And just keep repeating the same procedures. Over and over again. Another couple of them. The tighter you can make it, the better off it's going to be. Easier, less sanding you're going to have to do at the end. But there's always a little bit of sanding. There we go. Got that covered. Get that out of the way. All right. And then we want to assemble our mold. Let's see here. This is next. Now, links for Teexpert, their website is in the comments, or in the description below. Links to anything I use will be in the comments below, or the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or ask in the comments below, and I will gladly help you out any way I can. I started using Teexpert because it's cost effective. It's an excellent product. And I'm tired of seeing everybody telling you that, oh, it's not going to work if you don't use so-and-so brand. There's many brands out there that work. This one works very well for me, and I'm planning on sticking with them. As you can see, a mold goes together very easily. This is probably the longest part of the whole procedure, and screwing it all together. I have used this mold numerous times. It's going to be time to replace it here before too long. Teexpert also makes a bar top coating, which I am going to use to top coat this one I'm working on. I will not do it today because this has got to cure for about 72 hours first. If you're using MDF, you want to make sure, remember, you don't want to zip the screws in super tight because they will pull out. You won't have that problem with plywood if you use plywood. And one more screw. And there we have it. So in just a few minutes, we have got a MDF mold, 4 frames or 4 outer pieces, the main substrate, sealed in packing tape. We've got our lumber cut to just fit inside of it. Now with this one here, we're going to use black walnut, and we're going to use a magenta pink mica powder in our epoxy, which you don't see a whole lot of people use. Most of them are using the gold or the blues or something along those lines. First thing we got to do, we got to seal the inside of our mold with silicone. So we'll get our caulking gun out here, take the tip off of it. Throw the tip in the garbage can. All right. So we just want to run a bead along the inside all the way around. Alrighty. Now we will put on one of our rubber gloves. This is where things get a little on the messy side. So let's smear this epoxy, or this down in there. Forgot my towel. Take an old towel, wipe your... All right, so now we got the corners sealed. Now we've got to put our material in the middle. So we are going to also run a bead of silicone right down the center of the board, the side edge of the board here. And we're going to put just a little dab on each end. And the purpose of this is help keep it from running underneath the board. Now don't worry about getting it on the top because you're going to sand that. So that'll come off when you sand it. But you don't want to get it along the front edge here because the epoxy will not stick to the silicone. All right, and we're going to go to the next one, do the same thing on it. Just to be on the safe side. Run a little up each corner here. We're going to trim it down anyway. Now my board is actually cut a little thicker than what our final dimensions is going to be when it's done. There we go. That looks good. Now we're going to let this sit for a few minutes. We'll set this aside. Now our epoxy is a 2-to-1 mix epoxy. Oh, I need to get this back out here. Everybody tries to figure out how to calculate how much epoxy you're going to actually need to pour. There's a very simple, easy way to do it. On my website, there is an epoxy calculator, and it is linked below in the description. But the easy way to do it, it's going to ask you for the length and the width, and then the depth, and it'll calculate and tell you how much epoxy you need. If you've got irregular shaped boards you're working with, what you do is you start taking measurements. I took 6 on this. It's 5" here, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, 3.5. You add those numbers together, you come up with 26.5. You divide that by the number of measurements you take. I ended up with, which was 6 in my case, I ended up with 4.5. So my average width here is 4.5 inches. So I go to the calculator, tell it that I want a 3/4 inch thick pour. I want 24 inches in length, and then I want average of 4.5 inches, or it's 4.5 inches wide, and that comes out to like 48 or 45 ounces. We have 51 ounces. We're just going to mix it all up and be done with it. But that's going to sit for a few minutes and dry or cure. So we're going to mix all of this together. I said this is a 2-to-1 ratio, so if you don't need the whole thing, you would take 2 ounces of, or if you needed 12 ounces, you would take 8 ounces of the resin to 4 ounces of the hardener. This is very sticky material. It also does have an odor, so I would wear a face mask if you're susceptible to odors. It doesn't smell bad, it's just some people don't like it, so I recommend a face mask. Definitely wear gloves, because it's a pain to get it off of your fingers otherwise. Again, don't let people scare you into thinking you have to have these extremely high dollar, outrageously priced epoxies. You don't have to have the silicone molds. You can make a mold, or the plastic molds. You can make a mold for everything you do. It's the way I do it. That way I don't have to keep things hanging around. I got enough stuff in my way the way it is. All right, so we've got our epoxy in there. We want to start mixing. You want to mix it for about 5 minutes. You want to make sure you get everything off the sides. And as you're mixing it, you'll see stripes in it, striations. You want to mix until those are gone, because then it is completely mixed. And you're going to get bubbles in it. Don't worry about that. We'll switch cameras here so you can see better what we're doing here. And we're just mixing. As you can see, it is clear now. There's no striation, so we are thoroughly mixed, but I'm going to mix a few more minutes just to be on the safe side. Again, any link you need will be in the description below. I am more than willing to answer any questions anybody has. All right. That is pretty well mixed up. Now we're going to add in our powder. if I can get it open. Boy, they got this one sealed. So we'll just go down there. We'll do it that way. This stuff is light and fluffy, and it will go every place if you're not careful. As you can see, it's all over my fingers. And you can vary whether you want a more opaque or if you want a more transparent color. Again, keep everything off the sides. Allow you a better mix. Gives you a nicer, smoother mix. Now when you're making your mold, just cut your base plate for it the size that you want. Attach your frame to the outer edge with screws after you seal everything in a packing tape. Silicone the inner seams of it to help. That ought to be really pretty when it's poured. And then when the top coat goes over it and that black walnut starts to shine, it'll look really nice. Get this off up here where otherwise when I pour it, I'll end up with powder in there. All right, I think we got that mixed pretty well, and we're going to leave it sit for about 5 minutes. That'll allow the bubbles to start permeating to the surface and popping on their own. Now these guys have also got a new product. That is a burning pen and a burning gel. Basically you would burn using ink. Let's see here. Okay. So this is their burning pens. Basically you would write what you want, and then you take a heat gun and heat it up. One thing I've learned is you need the tip that points it down to a narrow point. I don't have that tip, so it takes longer than it actually should to actually burn it. because I'm spreading the heat too far across the board. You can't see it in the camera. You don't want to stay too long in one spot because you can start to singe the wood. So I said you needed the one that points it down to a narrow point. It works better that way. Move nice and slowly over it. You can see it's starting to burn now. I use this for signing furniture I build. And there you have letters or names or pictures burnt into the wood by using a pen. It works pretty well. You can see I tried over there. You can make it as dark as you want. If I kept heating this up, it would just get darker, but then I take a chance of starting to singe the wood underneath it. All right. As you can tell, our bubbles are working their way to the surface. We can actually help that out just a little bit. Just a little bit of heat from the heat gun. Help that out. Now back to our mold. Now at this point, we need to level our mold. So we got some little stands that it's on. See how close to level we actually are here. This end here needs to come up a little bit. So we'll take a little something and slide underneath there. more, I think. Oops. It's not bad, but we're way off that way. So we'll take these, slide them down there. Now they do sell a leveling table. Teexpert does. You can find it on their website. Alrighty. Now one thing you want to use is some type of blocks. You can use weight to hold everything down. I made these blocks real quick, and I put tape on the bottom of them so I can just kind of pull the board down so it doesn't want to float, because they will want to float. And make sure we're still close to level. And now we're basically ready to do a pour in just a few minutes. So let's do a pour. And let me fire up this camera here real quick. And another pair of gloves, because I'm going to end up smearing that stuff all over my fingers. All right, so now we are ready to pour our pretty pink. Let's just see how this works. Move that out of the way. All right, we're going to leave it sit for a little bit. Get some of these bubbles try to work their way out. Take our heat gun on low. Got a little something in it there. Take our stirring stick here and we'll see what it looks like when we put a little bit of swirl to it. Now you can't keep the swirls in it at this point in time. The epoxy is too thin. They will fade out. But in about 5 hours, it'll be thick enough you could swirl it and keep your swirls in place and get the cool effect that you want. And that's basically all there is to it. It's really easy. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money to do it. The most expensive thing I believe will probably be the wood you're using. Because you can get MDF or plywood for about $7, a roll of tape for about $3, $2 for a thing of silicone to seal it up, and then the cost of the epoxy. And they've always got coupons or specials going on Amazon. The links for them are all down in the description. And it's nothing to it. It's quick. It's easy. Very, very easy. And we got a pretty pink epoxy pour. We've got it clamped down really good so nothing moves. And now it's just going to have to sit for a couple of days and let it cure. And then next weekend I will do the final shaping of the whole system. I'll do final thicknessing on it, and then I will do the clear top coat on it, which will really make it shine. It'll make it look like this. The black walnut will really pop, and it'll really shine and look pretty. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram at Pruett_woodworking. You can go to my website, pruettwoodworking.com, send me a message there. The epoxy calculator to calculate how much you need is there. Pruett Custom Furniture on Facebook. Any place you want to, leave me a message and I will get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks for watching.